Hey everybody, welcome. Give you a little moment to connect your audio. If you're able to, turn your camera on. It's lovely for the team to be able to see your beautiful faces. It's a really nice way to interact. It's great to have you all here. Sue's just letting everybody in. You see everybody there, Sue? Let them in. Got a new co-host tonight, my co-pilot, down the bottom of the screen on participants. So just click on that and say view, and then admit all. All good, awesome. It's great to have you here. Where are you beaming in from tonight? Pop it in the chat box. Where in New Zealand are you? Hope you've all had a fabulous day, keeping warm wherever you might be. A big thank you for everyone to be here with us this evening. Joining myself, my name is Lee. I'm team leader based in Wellington. I've got some of the team around. Our intention tonight is to help offer you some great tips and ideas to support gluten-free and dairy-free staple recipes using the Thermomix. The best part is that a lot of these recipes are super, super easy to create, and often a lot of them will cost a fraction of the cost, and obviously having no additives like a lot of products in the supermarkets, and the added benefits of no preservatives or stabilisers, which is really awesome. We'll be zooming around all the kitchens, and the team will introduce themselves and the recipes that they're going to be demonstrating. Do keep an eye on the chat box, because I will be sharing all the recipe links in there for you. And if you're able to, like I mentioned, pop your camera on, because it's really nice for the team to be able to see your faces and interact with you. If you've got any questions, pop them in the chat. Otherwise, stick around at the end and we'll see if there's any questions that we can help with throughout tonight as well. So great to have you here. This is being recorded, so hello on the recording if you haven't been able to make it live on tonight as well. Alrighty, we are going to zoom on over to our very first kitchen tonight, and that is Diane's. Where are you, Diane? Just going to find you. Spotlight you there. If you're on a mobile phone, you may need to swipe across so that you're in the speaker view. And if you are on a big gallery, then you could just go into the same speaker view as well. Give you nice big focus for Diane.
Hi everybody, nice to have you all on tonight. I'm in Hawara in South Taranaki, and tonight I'm going to be making the gluten and grain-free bread rolls. And I got a real surprise making these, because not being gluten intolerant, I don't make a lot of gluten-free gluten-free baking, and I was really surprised at how easy these were, and just the mixture, I was really blown away. So I'm going to show you what I did. So we're going to start off the recipe, and it asks for some raw almonds. Now, this recipe I'm doing, it comes in Cookie Dough. If you look for it on Cookie Dough, there's a recipe makes 10 and a recipe that makes 5. So I'm doing the recipe that makes 5 bread rolls tonight, and of course uses 3 egg whites, and the other recipe uses 5 egg whites. So choose which one works for you. So I'm just adding some raw almonds and then just some psyllium husk. So psyllium husk is where you get the fibre. I'm popping that in there, and then the lid goes on, and just 10 seconds. Whoops, if I put the lid on. Isn't that a great thing about the Thermomix? If the lid's not on, it won't go. So safety feature there. So it's asking for some gluten-free baking powder. Just be careful when you're buying baking powder, because some baking powder isn't gluten-free. I think the Hansel's one has traces of wheat, so Edmonds is on there. So that's just that mixture popped up there. Look at those almonds, so good, aren't they? So I've got some gluten-free baking powder and some salt, so that's just going in there. And that's just going to have a little whiz around. So this is going to be on the turbo mode. So when you go into turbo, it automatically locks the bowl in. So it wants 4 5-second downs on turbo. Does everyone use their turbo mode? It's so fast. It's like your pulse button on the old food processor. Let's just mix that in. So now we're adding some egg whites. So there's 3 egg whites, as I said, going in there. And some apple cider vinegar, just 30 grams. And the lid's just going on, and then that's going to just need for 20 seconds. And if you want to know what to do with all your egg yolks, go on to the egg yolks left over, go on to Cookie Do and search for egg yolks and you'll find quite a few different recipes. There's some really scrummy puddings, like the lava puddings. And this one here now, we're just going to add some boiled water. So it's quite a unusual mix. Well, I thought it was. I couldn't believe I'm going to make buns without even having any flour. So now it's asking for some boiled water. 250 grams, which was quite a lot. I didn't have this one measured out beforehand. I was debating because the recipe says to add water boiled, and I thought, did that mean water that was previously boiled, or did it mean boiling water? So I've gone with quite hot water that I've just boiled. So now that's got 1 minute kneading. I'm going to be baking them in the lovely rose gold tray. This recipe is actually from one of the old cookbooks. It's on Cookie Do. It's from Everyday Cooking for Families. It's these lovely bread rolls, and it's also in the gluten-free collections on Cookie Do. When these ones are baked, they're going into a conventional oven. So I read that it's important to use the conventional oven. If you use a fan forced oven, you won't get the rise. It won't rise as much. So it's something just to remember to change your setting on your oven. Who's impatient like me? I'm always waiting for that to finish. So here's our mixture. So it's really quite a very sticky mixture. So it's quite a doughy mixture. And all I'm going to do, I'll just quickly show you. There. So the recipe asks to divide it into 5 equal balls. And so hold on, I need to put it down, sorry. I use a spoon and just sort of pull them up into a ball shape, and I just plopped it on my bowl, on my tray. I couldn't knead them into a ball. It doesn't say to knead them, it just says to divide it. So 5 balls like that. I think I get about 6 out of this, and in the oven for 50 to 55 minutes. So, pretty quick and easy, and I'll show you what they look like in an hour's time.
Fantastic. Thanks, Diane. It's quite a tacky dough as well. Like I've had these rolls lots and lots.
Tacky. That's the psyllium husk, because when it goes with water, you get that spongy feel. So yeah.
Yeah, and they're really good if you're looking for a low carb option. So that's how I found this recipe. My husband was doing keto many moons ago. They're beautiful. So it's quite a tacky dough. I don't bother trying to roll them. I think the recipe does say roll them, but yeah, spooning them out, super easy. Top job. Thanks, Diane. Right, we're going to whiz on over to Sue's kitchen now. I'll just bring you up on the spotlight there.
Hi, well, I'm in Wellington and I'm celiac, so I actually definitely need gluten-free for everything that I do. Now, just while Diane was talking about the buns, there's another bun recipe that I have used lots, and it doesn't require all the egg whites, and it's called buckwheat and almond slider buns, and it's on Cookie Do, and it's got the psyllium in it as well, but it just doesn't have the eggs, and the cooking time is about the same, but they're really, really nice. I was really pleased because it can go in the oven at the same time as the bread, so you can put them both on the same shelf in the oven, so that works quite well for me. So today
So there you go. I've just found the link.
Oh, great. So I'm cooking. I'm actually going to do some gluten-free flour. So I've got a mixture, but it's I got it from recipe community, and it's called Joan's Gluten-Free Flour. And Joan is the consultant in our team, so she's got a recipe there. I've sent the recipe to Cookie Do, to my machine, and it's in created recipes. So I'm going to go there now. And it's a slightly different format, but I think Lee's going to be doing a bit of screen sharing about it a bit later. So basically, I'm milling some white rice, I'm milling some, and then some brown rice, and then I'm adding in tapioca flour, corn flour, and xanthan gum. And it's only got 5 ingredients, so it's pretty simple. And certainly, if you run out of ordinary flour, if you run out of gluten-free flour at home, it's really easy to whip up. And so my first step is to start milling. And so I think Lee's going to cross over to someone else while I'm doing the milling.
I sure am. It's got it's about, how long is it? It's about 3 minutes to mill all your rices, isn't it?
Yes, 1.5 minutes for the white and same for the brown.
Yeah.
And I worked out that it's only about, you're calculating like rice flour is reasonably expensive, well, in the shop, but just a milling 160 grams of white rice into rice flour is so much more convenient. And mostly you have rice in the cupboards as well, which is really good. So
all right, we'll leave you to do your milling, and we'll come on back to you shortly. Thanks, so. Gonna head over to Jess's kitchen.
Hi everyone, my name is Jess. I am a team leader here on the Kapiti Coast. It's lovely to see you all tonight. I'm really excited. I'm showing you a couple of recipes, and one of them, the first one I'm going to talk you through, is actually coconut yogurt. So I'm not sure if anyone uses or likes coconut yogurt. I love it, but it is rather expensive, and so this is a great recipe. And it's super cheap just to make with a couple of cans of, or 1 can of coconut milk and 1 can of coconut cream. And then you leave it overnight and you're all good to go. So just going to step through the first part of the recipe that I started a little bit earlier. So as I said, I popped in 1 can of coconut milk, and then we added a can of coconut cream. I did add a little bit of arrowroot starch. So I just did 2 teaspoons. It does say 3 on the recipe. And I didn't add any agar. Now, this is just really dependent on the texture. Some people like really thick yogurt, but I do like it a little bit runnier. And then I did add just 1 tablespoon of maple syrup instead of 2. And then what we did is this actually just heats to 80 degrees for 10 minutes on a speed of 3.5. And then what the recipe calls for is for you to then take it off and let it cool down to 45 degrees. So that's what I've been doing. So it's now, if you're wanting to check the temperature of your bowl when you've got a recipe like that, all you do is pop it back on and you'll be able to see, if I go to the home button, it actually tells me in the middle of my temperature what the current temperature is. So it's really handy for those recipes where they say, please, let cool to a certain temperature. So you just pop it back on and you'll see when it's there. So we're at that right temperature. So just going next. So what I've done is I've tipped a little bit of this mixture out, and you can see it's just getting a little bit gluggy there. So it's definitely thickened up quite a bit. And it's told me to tip out a little bit of the yogurt, which I have into a small bowl, and then I've just emptied 2 probiotic capsules into there. So this is where you can get, I've just used some ones that I've got in my fridge, so they're not dairy-free, but you can get dairy-free ones, so do look out for those ones if you'd like them. But it just says empty them in here, and then you just mix until smooth, which is what I've done. So there's no lumps in there. And then what we do is we add this back into the yogurt mixture. So this is just making sure you're getting all those good bacteria for your yogurt before we go into that fermentation process. Alrighty, we're going to mix this super quick. Lid goes on, so 5 seconds on a speed of 4.
Jess, we've just had a question in the chat box. Where do you get your probiotic capsules from?
Oh, there's lots of places. So I actually get mine from either the pharmacy or health stores. So normally they will live in the fridge because that's how they keep the bacteria growing and alive. So I just get some Inner Health Plus, but there's lots of different types. But yeah, normally if you go to your pharmacy, they will have them in a fridge out the back. Common Sense Organics have them. Health 2000, yeah, loads of places have them now. So you can get them from anywhere. The other thing you can do is actually just use a little bit of leftover coconut yogurt, which has got the bacteria in it instead. So if you're not wanting to add your own sort of capsules in, you can just use sort of like another bit of coconut yogurt as a starter. So now that we have...
It's important to say here, Jess, as well, that you've got to open up the capsules. Don't put the capsules in whole.
There's my little capsules. Yeah, you've got to open them up and tip them in. They will not mix well if you don't open
Don't be
them.
like Lee the first time I tried.
And now what it's actually telling me to do is divide this between little glass jars. So these are the little jars that I use. So this is actually some yogurt that I made last night before, just experimenting. And so those are the ones that I'm using. But tonight, I'm going to use, it's actually my mum's, I had to borrow it, is this beautiful white thermo server. Now, I'm using this because it's perfect size to fit in our varoma. So all we're going to do is tip in this lovely looking yogurt in here. And it's definitely thickened up and I can't wait. And it's got a beautiful smell to it with that coconut cream and yogurt and milk. So here's my yogurt and my varoma. And what we're going to do now is pop it into our varoma dish to heat. But as I have, it does say rinse your mixing bowl, but luckily I have another mixing bowl. Ah, so handy. Just bring that one in. Instead of rinsing that one, all I'm going to do is fill with 250 grams of water. Just going to pop that on there. What's really important at this point as well is to pop in your lemon juice. So just add our water. And we're popping in lemon juice, about 30 grams, because this is going to look after your blades. Because in your bowl is stainless steel, it stops it from degrading. So we'll just chop this one up and squeeze this in. Beautiful lemons at the moment. Righty. Squeeze in that lemon juice.
Jess, while you're squeezing in your lemon, we've just had a question coming through. What brand of coconut milk and cream do you use?
Oh, well, to be honest, I just used what was in my cupboard today, and I can't even remember because the tins have gone. They're out in the recycling. But it's good to use sort of a high quality coconut milk or coconut cream. There's ones, the organic ones, the Sears ones, I think they're called. Generally, it's the ones that they're slightly more expensive. So instead of, sometimes they might be on special for $1.50. Normally you'd sort of pay $2 to $3 for these ones. It's still a lot cheaper than coconut yogurt. However, it's much better quality, less nasties in there if that's something that's important to you. So yeah, it's normally $2.50, I think, to $3 for those tins of coconut cream and coconut milk. But yeah, those are the ones that I use. I have used Trident before as well. That's been okay. But the sort of the cheaper versions will have more additives. So just do be aware of that one.
Countdown do a really great essentials brand, and it's actually got a really low amount of additives in it as well. It's one of the most cleanest, and they are $1.50 a can. So yeah. Well, where's Countdown, whatever they're called now. So yeah. And there's also the Macro brand from Countdown. They're also quite clean.
I'm not a Countdown shopper, so I don't know these things.
Yeah, there you go.
All right, so varoma going on. So who's used their fermentation mode? Has anyone used it? It's one of those cool things. I don't use loads, but it is it's fantastic. So what we're going to do is we're just popping the varoma in there. If you've got the jars, then you pop them in, but I'm just going to pop the whole dish. As I say, it fits beautifully in there. And all of this is going to go for 10 hours at 70 degrees. So it's just going to cook overnight, and then we'll have beautiful coconut yogurt tomorrow. So I'm going to pass you back to Lee, and yeah, any questions, pop them in the chat box. But yeah, you can serve your coconut yogurt with loads of different things. I like to put it in smoothies and things as well. So yeah, delicious.
Awesome. Thanks, Jess. And top tip, yogurt at night so that your machine is not busy through the day fermenting for hours on end. So yeah, I always do my yogurt at night time. Do you do yours at night, Jess, or through the day when you're away, or when do you typically do it?
Overnight, yeah. Yeah, and power's cheaper at night as well, so overnight.
Okay. Love that. Awesome job. Thanks, Jess. Right, we're going to whiz on back to Sue. She's done her milling. How are you going, Sue?
Righto. Now, I don't know if you can see, but actually it's really, really fine. Probably because I milled it for a minute and a half for the white and the brown. So we're back into the recipe. And so I'm just putting most of everything in. Oof. Lee and I were doing a bit of a cost analysis as to whether it was cheaper to make it or whether it's cheaper to buy it. And I was quite surprised with what we discovered, because it seems that if you buy it, it seems a little bit cheaper than if you make it. Surprised me. And we've put everything in. So we've got the flours, the rice, yeah, the flours, and then we're going now 20 seconds, speed 5. Most the most costly thing ingredient was the xanthan gum. You can have a look at the flour, all ready to go. So I'm going to use this I'm going to be making a pizza dough, gluten-free pizza dough, and so I'm going to be using this in the pizza dough. So I think you can, I'm done for my patch. Lee?
Awesome. Thanks, Sue. I think we are going to whiz on over to Rosemary's kitchen now. Just bring Rosemary up on the big screen. Top job, Sue.
Hi everyone, I'm Rosemary coming to you from New Plymouth, and tonight I'm going to be doing a dairy-free lemon curd. Now I'm going to be using coconut oil, that one, instead of butter, and because the oil is white and we really want our lemon curd to look lemony, I'm adding the rind of 2 lemons in with the sugar. So we'll start cooking and we'll put the rind in there and just blitz it for just around on. You can hear the sound change when it's done its job. So it just blitzes into the sugar. So it's a good tip to use too if you're making something like lemon muffins and it doesn't call for the rind to be added to the flour. I've found that some of the muffins don't have enough zing taste in them. So if you blitz the lemon rind in with the flour the same way as I did with the sugar, you'll get an awesome tasting lemon muffin. So we've got white sugar. I've used raw sugar. And the lemon juice, 150 grams of lemon juice. And unsalted butter is coconut oil. And 3 eggs. So it's very easy. Next, the old familiar cup, and it's using the thicken mode. So I don't have to do anything, and you hear the machine going one way and then you hear it stopping, going into reverse. You hear it speeding up and then slowing down, and it comes out perfect. That's brilliant to use. If you're wanting to use passion fruit to make a passion fruit curd, I saw a tip from Nigella Lawson before that I have used, and she talks about getting the seeds out of the pulp. And what she does is she puts it into a food processor, but she's made the comment that to be very careful not to have it going too fast because you don't want to munch up the seeds. But by putting it in something like a food processor, it separates the liquid that forms around the pulp that forms around the seed. So then when you strain it, the seeds get left behind and you just get the pulp. Of course, us with Thermomix, we can put it on stir and on reverse. So we're not going to damage our seeds and take off that beautiful color of the passion fruit. So it works really well. If you want her recipe, you can just Google it. But if you want to use the same measurements as what Cookie Doo has used for the lemon one, you can do the same thing and it works, because I've tried it and it's absolutely beautiful. When passion fruit season is in, it's really good. Have a go. So that's us, I think, Lee, for me.
Awesome job. Thanks, Rosemary. All righty, we're going to whiz on back to Sue. She's going to make something delicious with her gluten-free flour mix. I'll just bring you back up there, Sue.
Yep, that's cool. How good is it to have 2 bowls? I didn't have to find containers or anything. So I'm in the middle of making Hawaiian gluten-free pizza. And it's one that I've tried and found really successful. In the memory, not a memory block. It's made for doing it in the pizza oven, but I just use it in my own oven. That's what I was trying to say. And so I've milled some more rice, and then I'm just going to make the dough. I made it in the recipe, it says to make it the night before, so I have done that, and so I've got it all ready to show you with me putting it on the oven tray. So we're all good to go, and just going to be putting some water in there. And my yeast. I make sure I put the yeast around the side of the bowl rather than on top of the blade, because otherwise it doesn't get the full amount of yeast warming up.
Yeah, that's a great tip there, Sue. The water line is just under the blades, isn't it, for a lot of pizza doughs?
Yeah, it is. Yeah. And so we've got a minute 30 for this, Lee, or the yeast is doing its thing.
And the great thing is you've got that controlled temperature. You know, how often have we made pizza doughs or, mixes where we, have tepid water and it's not hot enough, or it's too cold, or, too hot, you kill off the yeast or it doesn't activate. So got that precision heating there, which is brilliant. Love it. We'll leave you to warm that through. While that's warming through, I'm just going to have a little screen share. I just wanted to share a few things. Sue mentioned earlier about the recipe that she's used for the gluten-free flour. So bear with me while I just bring up the screen I need here. Oh, where are we? Need to make sure I've got the right box. 1 second. Oh. Lots of boxes to move to find the one that I need. Bear with 1 sec. Sorry, team. If you've ever facilitated a Zoom meeting, there's lots of things and moving parts. So I've got to make sure I've got the right one. There we go. Can you see my desktop? Diane Monera, can you give me a thumbs up, please? Are we good? Yeah, awesome. So recipe community is recipecommunity.com.au. Has anyone not heard of the recipe community before? Pop it in the chat box. It's been around for a long time, and it's a fabulous addition to just find more resources and recipes from other creators. So outside of, the triple tested recipes from our development team. So like Sue mentioned, Joan is one of our consultants in our team based here in Wellington, and she is the creator of this beautiful gluten-free flour mix. And it's as easy as going in, just type in Joan's recipe, Joan's gluten-free flour mix here. And then what you can do is just click on this little green button here, and it will link it directly into Cookie Dough. You will need to set up an account and sync it through. And then it's as easy as just saying confirm. And then what it's going to do is bring that recipe over directly into your existing Cookie Dough account. It'll have all the ingredients, the processes, and then just click done. Once you've made the recipe, you can actually make it your own. You'll see I've got a double up here because I did already have Joan's recipe. You can take a photo of your recipe and you can modify it. You might like to, have it a certain way or different portion amounts and things like that. But everything will then be able to be done directly in your Thermomix with the guided steps from your created collections. And then it's as easy as just going into my recipes and then coming over into your created recipes folder, and that's where you'll find that recipe there. So I will pop that into the email with the recording from this evening and the links. I've also shared a really fabulous recipe, which is a gluten-free pasta. I have tried several gluten-free pasta recipes, including the ones off Cookie Dough, and I found them quite crumbly and quite a tricky texture to work with, especially if you're wanting to do things like lasagna sheets or spaghetti or things where you're using a pasta machine. Just not a beautiful silky dough because it doesn't have that gluten and elasticity, whereas this one is quite egg based, and it is beautiful. So very simple. You could make your gluten-free flour mix and then add in the other ingredients, and it's beautiful to work with. So I'll include those recipes there for you. While we're on Cookie Dough, I wanted to highlight just how you can find other gluten-free and dairy-free recipes really easily as well. So when you're coming over to your little explore button, if you don't know, you've got your recipes that you can search for. You can also have the little drop-down tab and go into collections and just type in gluten-free, and you'll see that there's loads of different collections. This one here is one that I especially love and is my go-to that I highly recommend to customers and people to look through. But if you've got special celebrations or things coming up, then, obviously there's Christmas and baking and all sorts in there. There's also worldwide collections. So you could use Google Translate and just find something, quite authentic from around the globe, something new to try. And then the same here as well. You could look in dairy-free, and there's a couple of dairy-free collections that will show up here as well. Apart from looking in the collections, another thing you can do is come over here into your recipes and then use your filters. So not only can you look for recipes including ingredients, but we can also use the excluded ingredients here. So here you could put in, milk, you could put in, obviously gluten. You could have gluten-free flours. Yeah, you can find recipes that will exclude those things for your dietary needs really easily. And then you could also say, what kind of recipe it is you're wanting to do. You might want to find a main dish with meat that's gluten-free, dairy-free, that sort of thing. So just use those filters there to really help you to find more things. So I'll just come out of that and go back home. in there. One of the other really neat things that we have available to you as well is a 5-day gluten and dairy-free meal plan. There is a couple that you can have access to. There's a meal plan for 4 and also a meal plan for 2. So if you're looking for some new inspiration and recipes to try, a lot of the team have made these recipes. So reach out to your consultant. They may be able to point you in the direction of something new and delicious. This did come out in an email yesterday to everyone who has subscribed through the marketing for Thermomix. So if you haven't received it, jump into your account on Thermomix or reach out to your consultant so we can help you to get that out as well. There's often some really fabulous marketing that the team sends out, and we would hate for you to miss out on some of those opportunities as well. So yeah, hopefully that's been of help for you to be able to just find more recipes and inspiration and ideas, because yeah, it can be a bit of a struggle for some. If you are gluten-free or dairy-free or catering to those dietary needs, what's your biggest pain point? Share with us in the chat box. What is it that you find especially tricky? Because we would love to be able to help going forward. The team can put through, some ideas of how you can be finding those recipes or what kinds of recipes you want to be cooking with or making. We've really focused on a lot of the staples and some delicious things tonight. But there's, obviously lots that we can also be helping you with as well along the way. So pop it in the chat box. We'd love to hear from you. Anything that you're wanting to know more about. So that's cookie dough. I think we'll whiz on back over to Sue's kitchen. How you going there, Sue?
Yeah, great. I've put the flour that we just made, I've put it in there, and then it's calling for xanthan gum, but actually I'm making a decision not to use xanthan gum because there's quite a bit of it in Joan's gluten-free flour mix. So I'm going to be putting salt and the ground rice that I did earlier. And then it's about to do its go mode for 3 minutes.
Fantastic. Love the
Do you
dough.
want- Do you want me to show you the dough that I made last night?
Yes, please. Yeah. And bring your camera down a bit so we can see your bench.
Gosh, I've got flour everywhere.
It's easier to bring your camera down than your dough up.
Yeah.
There we go.
There we go.
There we go.
So
Awesome.
it's actually it's really wet, it's quite wet, as you can see by my hands. I've actually put baking paper underneath because I tried doing it on our lovely mat, but it just got too sticky. So I'm going to bake it in the rose gold pizza tray, but I'm actually going to have it on baking paper. And yeah, I'm looking forward to having it, actually. This is my dinner. And I've got toppings all ready to go. So I'll get that in the oven now, Lee.
Fantastic. Top job, Sue.
You want to have any questions?
Have we got any other celiacs on here tonight? Any tips or recipes that you've enjoyed that you want to share? You can pop it in the chat box. We can share those with each other. It's a learning space here tonight. So if you've got anything that you love making or any favorite dairy-free recipes, feel free to share them. It's always really great to get new ideas and inspiration. Top job. Alrighty, we're going to whiz on over. I think, where are we going? I've just got to check whose kitchen I'm whizzing into next. Jess. There's Jess. There we go.
Back again. Hi, team. Okay, so I just thought I'd share one of my favourite recipes before I was going to try and type it. I'd take too long to type, but I actually make the creamy chicken and sun-dried tomato pasta, and we make it dairy and gluten-free for my brother and his family when they're with us. So we just replace the cream with coconut cream, and we replace the butter with oil, and then we replace the pasta just with a gluten-free pasta, and it's beautiful. So sometimes what you can do to help reduce that taste of coconut is add a little bit of lemon juice as well, and it helps neutralize it a little bit. So yeah, so that's another one. So there's loads of recipes that can be adapted just by giving it a go. So that's a firm favorite in our household. And I'm now going to show you another firm favorite of mine is the almond milk. Now this is something that we used to have a lot of, and what I really struggled with was the fact before I got my Thermomix that the packaging that almond milk came in was not recyclable. So those cartons that generally comes in, you can't do anything with them. They're just going straight to landfill. So when I found that you could make it in the Thermomix, it was, ooh, good day. So this one is a super quick one. So there's a couple of different recipes. One that I like to use is I actually soak the almonds overnight. But this one's a great, super quick one. And all it said for this one is that we've just weighed in 200 grams, just start cooking, or 220 grams of almonds. And then I've just added 660 grams of water, and we just had to have it soak for an hour. And all we're going to do now that it's been soaking, is we're going to pop in. Now, this one does call for dates. I don't always put dates in my almond milk because I don't think it needs sweetening personally. But if you like it a little bit sweeter, that's great. And sometimes if you're using it for baking, it is quite nice to have that little extra sweetness. But I'm just going to skip that step. And it also says that you can put in some vanilla essence. Now, I love the flavour of almond milk, so I also don't put that one in. So all we're going to do is just tip in the almonds that have been soaking in the water. Straight on in there. And we are just going to push this lid on. And we're just going to give it 2 minutes on speed 9. Now, it's really noisy and you don't need to be around for this one. So once I've finished that, then I'll give you a call and I'll show you how I strain it. Not through stockings, as was discussed in the chat tonight, but actually through a nut milk bag. So much more hygienic, although needs must, you can use the stockings. But yeah, so this will show you how we strain it as we come back and how to keep it. So yeah, I'll put my noisy machine on now, Lee, and I'll pass back to you.
Thanks, Jess. Oh, you made me giggle. It was me. It was me that used stockings before I had a nut milk bag. They are available in the Mix shop, and they are fabulous. So yeah, I'm a lot more professional now with a nut milk bag. While you're doing that, I'm actually going to screen share because I have a little collection that I have started putting together, not necessarily dairy and gluten free, but just a little collection using almond pulp, because it's a byproduct from making your almond milk, and often people say, what do you do with it? It is absolutely fabulous for using in your baking. Obviously you can pop it into smoothies, you could even dry it out, but there's a couple of recipes of firm faves that might interest you as well. So the galettes with tomatoes, these ones here, the raw chocolate brownies, really delicious as well. And you could make that really easily just with a couple of ingredients that are probably in your pantry. You don't need to go out and buy any additional things. You could also put some chopped fruit or other seeds and nuts into those as well. So yeah, absolute winner. Great for lunch boxes. So just stop sharing there. And I'll just check the chat box. We had a couple of questions coming in. Seeded crackers, yes, absolutely. Crackers that are gluten-free are very expensive. You know, you're looking at $6-7 a box, and you can make them very inexpensively with your Thermomix. So I love that. Well, Jess is still milling off her nuts and blending all that through. We're just going to whiz over to Diane's kitchen. Let's have a look at your buns. Hans, how are you doing there with your buns?
They're still in the oven, but they're looking amazing. I can't get over how amazing they look. So give me another few minutes, Lee. Yeah, they're still cooking, but they're looking good. But I did do something. I did work out earlier on this morning how much they cost, and just the psyllium husk, the almonds. I included the eggs, and if you want to do the apple cider vinegar, but it worked out to about $8, so about $1.40 each, which is pretty good, I think, for a gluten-free bun. So I don't buy them normally, but I thought that sounded a pretty good price for Yeah, the buns, but yeah, not quite ready yet, Lee. But I can show
Awesome.
you
No
some.
worries.
Pardon?
That's all good. We can come back to you shortly. We can whiz over to another kitchen. We'll whiz over to Rosemary. I know she's got some
Oh.
things to show us. Awesome. Thanks, Diane. You just on mute, Rosemary.
Okay, so the mode has finished and we have one jar of beautiful coloured lemon curd and it's really quite firm. So I've got that much plus that much and I use the funnel to pour it in. Do you want me to talk about the banana cake?
Yes, please. That would be wonderful.
Okay. Some of my family, as well as being gluten-free, and hang on, I'll just take that away. As well as being gluten-free, dairy-free, they're actually grain-free as well as no nightshade, so we can't use potato starch. So my daughter-in-law has come up with making the better banana cake that's on cookie dough and just swapping out the ingredients. And I'll just go through what she's done. She swapped out the butter and used the coconut oil that I showed you before. For the self-raising flour, she's used half and half coconut flour and sweet potato starch. So for somebody who can't eat potatoes, they can usually eat sweet potatoes, the kumara starch. We've found that you can get that in the Chinese shops. So if you ask them for it, it looks like corn flour, but it doesn't react quite in the same way as corn flour. But coconut flour, of course, doesn't act the same way as wheat flour or rice flour either. So a half and half for that works well. Kristen said if you want a lighter batter, then maybe 10 grams less of coconut flour and 10 grams more of sweet potato starch, but that works well. If you're using coconut flour, as we've just talked about, always add an extra egg. And Kristen added a heaped teaspoon of baking powder to this recipe because the original recipe called for self-raising flour. She used half the amount of sugar and it worked. She changed the ordinary milk, dairy milk, for coconut milk. She baked it as directed and at the same temperature and everything, and it turned out really good. So for people that are on really, really restricted diets for health reasons, to be able to give them something that is kind of like normal, it's a real joy. It's a real thrill to be able to sit down and do that. And she's worked out something very similar to what I've just said with the sticky toffee puddings and the sauce that goes with that. Instead of having dairy cream, we put in coconut cream. And it's a real joy to eat. It's really lovely. So don't be afraid to experiment. Don't be afraid to call out to Lee, to get in touch with me if you want extra help. We are always experimenting and trying and coming up with things like this that normally we wouldn't have been able to eat, but to find that, hey, it did work with coconut oil. Putting the lemon zest in there gives the extra zing, gives the colour. Who would know the difference? You can't taste it. It's fantastic. So give it a go. We're here to help. Happy to help. Thanks,
Love
Lee.
it. Yeah, thanks, Rosemary. That's the key thing. We are here to help. And, you know, gluten-free and dairy-free cooking doesn't need to be scary and overwhelming. You just, yeah, give it a try. And, yeah, we'll do our best to point you in the right direction. Top job. Thank you, Rosemary. I'd be tempted to sit there with a spoon and just eat all that lemon curd now. How yum. Delish.
No, it's good.
Top
Good.
job. Thank you. Right. I can see Jess has got her nut milk bag out, not a stocking. And she's strained her milk beautifully there. Look at you with your fancy milk bottle.
I know, isn't it cool? I got it think I got it from like an organic shop in Taupo one year, and it's my pride and joy. But yeah, so I've strained out almond milk here, and I have used the nut milk bag. And as you can see on the inside is that beautiful almond pulp. So yet again, we can actually then reuse it, like Lee showed. I did see when I couldn't hear anything, but I could see her showing the raw brownies. So I will be making something with this. The other thing you can do, I'm not sure if she mentioned that you can actually pop it in a really low, slow oven and dry it out. And that's your almond meal for recipes too. So love that, making the most of everything. So this will last in the fridge for a couple of days. Please do make sure if you are storing things like this in glass bottles that you have used your little varoma to sterilize them and pop them in the oven just to dry them out, just to make sure that you're not going to get any bacteria there. But yeah, almond milk in under an hour.
Yeah, delicious.
Flavor ups.
And much higher nutritional content, value to it as well. When you're reading those Tetra Packs, I think some of them can be as low as like 3, 4, 11% almond, and you're just buying a box of water and lots of sunflower oils and all sorts of emulsifiers and stabilizers and yeah, all sorts that go into those boxes. So yeah, super easy. So yeah, love it. Nice and creamy.
Very creamy.
Delicious.
Yeah.
Enjoy. It's taking me back to the 80s seeing a milk bottle like that, Jess. It's very cool.
Love it.
Yeah.
Just don't have those like the foil lids. Do you remember those?
Oh yeah, the push foil, yes. And then or the cream on the top. Yeah.
That straw straight on in there.
Yeah, how good. Awesome job. Thanks, Jess. Sue, how's your pizza going?
The pizza's in the oven.
Awesome.
The dough's finished. I just wanted to show you it's a wet dough, as you can see on the spatula. And I'll put this, I've got a greased bowl ready to go. Put that in there. And normally I'd let it brew for an hour. And I will probably just leave it in my hot water cupboard for a little bit. And then I'm going to put it in the freezer. And it freezes really well. Just to, FYI. It's good to know.
Yeah, how good.
Yeah,
It's quite a sticky looking dough, isn't it? Is it easy to work with to put it into a pizza shape? Was it all right? Did you have to use more flour to shape it? Or
a lot more flour. Yep.
Yeah.
So I've kind of had flour all over my bench, on the floor, down my apron. Anyway, that's it. That's just how it goes.
Top job. Oh, well done. Awesome. Thanks, Sue. How's your buns, Diane? Are they out the oven?
They're just coming now. I'll just show you.
Awesome.
I'm so impressed. I think they're pretty amazing.
Hey, look at those.
And they look good. They look absolutely beautiful. Yeah, really love. As the recipe said 5, but I've done the 6 with them, and that was with the 3 egg whites. So I guess if you use the 5 egg whites, you probably could get up to 12. So no, they're awesome. And I did make some earlier on, just to show you. Sorry. The texture inside, because those ones are a bit hot to cut, but just inside they are so soft. They feel really, really lovely. It's almost like I might change to gluten-free buns from now on. They're really lovely. So
yeah, they look.
Pardon?
They look great.
Yeah, probably nice for burgers or things or anything, but yeah, really lovely. So I was really impressed that mixture, how it came up. So that tackiness turned into beautiful buns.
Yeah, well done. Thanks, Diane. I think that's the end of the evening. I think we've covered all the kitchens and yeah, shared a few tips along the way. So it's been great to have you here. If you have got any other questions, do pop them in the chat. And I just wanted to remind you, we've got lots and lots of owners on here this evening. I see the registration and who's joining us. I've got a lot of TM6 owners on tonight, and just wanted to remind you that you've got a Thermomix in your kitchen. You've got a business opportunity sitting there. So we have got an information session on Zoom at 1 o'clock o'clock tomorrow or Sunday evening. So if you are curious to know more about what's involved with consultancy, could be a great little extra income. We've got great incentives. I mentioned the bowl blade lid sets earlier. If you're curious to know more, and if it's not for you or might be for somebody that you know, reach out. We would love to help and just share some of what's involved and the opportunities there. So yeah, great having you along tonight. Hopefully that's inspired you. If you go on to make any of these recipes after tonight, let us know. Send me an email. I'll share it with the team. We love seeing what you're making. And I'll be sure to send out the recording and all our top tips and those recipe links before the end of the week as well. So yeah, thanks for joining us, everyone. 90 pops from us. We will get some photos and share what Sue's pizza looks